Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip,
And I'm CJ.
and it is Monday in the rib, and a really cold Monday it is too. So
Oh, yes, it is.
this has
Gonna
been
be
a terrible
colder.
winter. I guess the
Gonna be
gas
colder
company
overnight,
must be.
10 degrees.
I guess the gas company must be ecstatic about this winter. November sucked. December's cold as hell. Feels like February,
I
January, and
know.
February. God, it's awful. But
Terrible.
I got to start with that. Did you hear about that accident where the guy was killed and when he was walking his dog?
Yes, I did in Rhode Island.
Yeah, and
And the
Hopkins.
woman had been arrested over 100 times.
Yeah, imagine that. It just goes to show these blue states. You know how they should all be prosecuted. She's been arrested over 100 times. She had drugs in the car. She took down. They said she took down numerous poles before she ran
Right.
this poor guy down. Good afternoon, Jeff. Yeah,
Hi,
she
Jeff.
ran this poor buddy, and this guy was a good musician. I don't know how many of our viewers are blues fans, but I am a big fan of the blues. I used to go to Chan's in Woonsocket a lot to listen to. They have they have some of the best blues bands in the country appearing at Chan's, a Chinese restaurant in Woonsocket. It's been open for over 100 years. They have a if you look up their website, they'll give you the thing. But he used to play with Room Full of Blues, which is actually one of the best known blues bands ever.
From my understanding, he also used to teach.
Yeah, he taught. Yeah, and later on, of course, he's older now. But I mean, the Room Full of Blues, I think, once got a Grammy, and they, he did teach. Both his wife and him taught at I forgot what college it was, but they were
You are right.
Oh, guten Tag. Oh, we got a was ist los, David? Du bist Deutscher? Whoa, we're getting fancy now.
We're getting international now.
We're getting international. We get the international language here. I don't know. We got the but yeah, guten Tag, huh? So, but yeah, that's outrageous. Imagine 100 arrests, over 100 arrests.
Yep.
And she's driving around in a car. She's still got a license. Driving around in a car and kills that poor guy. I mean, that's just tragic, Tragic.
And the way the family found out was that the dog went running home over a mile. Over a mile, and the dog knew where to go.
Hey, Jim. Yeah, that's. I mean, look, this is the problem. This is what's destroying the country. You got these, especially in these blue states, you got these revolving door judges. Even if the police do their job, they can't keep people incarcerated because they let them go. They reduce charges. They do everything. And then you wonder why they can't get the society in order in these places. Like now, they're going to pass legislation, but you look around. Even it's scary to think now that Rhode Island that little state is doing better than us. I mean, now in the high schools when people are running around like maniacs and assaulting people, they're prosecuting them now. You have communities passing stringent laws and stuff like that, and okay. Yeah, you hit the O instead of the P. I thought my name changed. Okay. But, Jimmy, I have to look at my keyboard. I'm not. But yeah, it's crazy. And, on a national scene, as usual, it's a fiasco. They're spinning. All they're doing is talking about garbage and. Oh, no, that's all right, Jimmy. I got like size 16 fingers. I have a hard time texting, and you should see some of the texts that I write. It looks like I'm writing in Mandarin. So
maybe this is why.
There you go. Yeah, CJ got that one. CJ's having fun with this new edition we got. There you go. The definition of
The
a
current
liberal
Democrat.
Yeah, I was talking to CJ before. Any of you guys remember? Was this one of the people that were reading down at the library with Coogan? Looks familiar.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure if that was one of the ones at the library.
No, the line that gets me is the closing line there. Now, let me tell you how to fix the country.
Exactly. Yep. What we need is more liberal laws, more criminals. Jeff, that looks like sure. Good, yeah, good one, Jeff. Listen, I mean, I don't, as long as they don't.
I'm glad you said that, Jeff, because I wasn't.
I don't care the way they want to dress, but I mean, yeah, God, it's just like just don't be so, in your face on it. Just live your life the way you want to live it. Nobody cares. Don't bother anybody. You can do what you want, but that's the problem with these Dems. They want everybody to be like them. They have to be. You have to be a whiny liberal. Excuse maker, virtue signaler, but we can't afford to do that. Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't want to see. He's running it into the ground. That's for sure. Yeah. And the thing is, I heard a statistic. I don't know. It's not Fall River. Maybe you guys can tell me this, but they said throughout the country, because the economy is improving slowly, but improving from what the Democrats did to it. And a lot of it has to do with the Fed not lowering its rates, because that guy's a Democrat and he's doing it intentionally to slow the thing down. He actually lowered the rates when he shouldn't have lowered the rates in the middle of Biden's massive inflation, because he's a Democrat. Yeah, that's the thing that sometimes I think they
that's what aggravates a lot of people.
Yeah, I think that's where they get in trouble with a lot of people. Right. I mean, even as far back as when I was younger, we had men that dressed up like women. They didn't have the political power they had today, but we had people who wanted to do that. Nobody cared. Maybe they got a few more insults than they would today.
When I went to Bristol Community College years and years and years ago, and I mean years ago, back in the 80s, we had one professional student named Sandy. Sandy was a man dressed as a woman. Nobody said anything about
that one.
Nobody said anything about it.
I think I remember that.
The professional student was there forever.
Yeah. But, I think you're right, Steve. I think that's where they get in trouble, because it seems as though they're attempting to groom children.
Right.
If you want to dress up in high heels and put lipstick on and dye your hair, whatever color is in vogue today, I don't think the average person will go, hey, whatever floats your boat. I don't care. Because I don't give a damn what anybody else dresses. I'm not,
Hey, Jared on TV said, we must stand up to Trump and save our poor cartels.
Yeah. Yeah. See, this is that's what we're talking about. This is how out of touch and how ridiculously elitist and dysfunctional the Democrats are. They actually were saying that they had some, I don't know if it's a senator or congressman, saying, oh, the guy was hanging on a piece of the boat. Oh, so he's no threat anymore. Oh, no? they said that they already, it took an hour for them to finish the boat off. They wanted to make sure they got all the drugs, and they were radioing in for another boat to come and save the drugs and get them out. So they blew the boat up and them up again. And this is the thing. How can you feel? And he actually had the audacity to say, well, he wasn't a threat then. Well, yes, he is. He's calling in for another boat to pick up him and the drugs so they can continue on. And these people, they're so out of touch. And then you read these posts from these movie actors and elitists, and Richard Gere is now, I moved to Spain, but he came back. Now Rosie wants to come back. What's her name? Ellen DeGeneres. I'm sorry, that was a slip of the tongue. Her and their wife is coming back from England. Oh, they don't like it over there. Oh, maybe it's the Muslims that are running around with machetes on the street in the UK. They don't like, all of a sudden, they forgot. They don't like America. America sucks. But
hey, remember,
they're all looking.
They all don't like America when they're in those countries.
Yeah.
But they love America when it comes to our benefits.
Oh yeah, that's why we got half of Somalia here now.
That's right.
And causing all this. But now that fraud is up in the billions, not like 1 billion, but up in the billions now. That happened in Minnesota under Tiny Tim's reign. But it's getting crazy. And in the city, I was saying there was a statistic they were talking about rents going down in the country, which is a good thing. But I don't think you'll see rents go down in Fall River because Fall River's Fall River. And
right.
The irony is that we're the place that needs it the most.
It's always something.
Oh, no, it's trans Tifa, Stevie. Yeah. Everybody's got the. They've always got that suffix of "ifa" at the end. That makes them like terrorists. They think they're
Tifa.
they think they're badasses because they put that suffix at the end. Trans Tifa. Shithead Tifa. That's the new one.
It's funny.
Shitheads, the radical organization for shitheads. So, but the city.
But it's still funny.
What? Yeah, the big thing about killing people who are killing Americans, and the Democrats are on their side. Oh, I got up.
Well, thanks for watching, James. He's on a flight to Iceland.
Iceland. Oh, guy, wasn't cold enough here?
Yeah, exactly.
Come on,
don't bring back any snow.
It must be even colder at Iceland. I don't know. Maybe it isn't. It's probably warmer than it was here today. He's going to Iceland. Wow. Well, I hear it's beautiful over there, but cold. I don't know if this is the right time of the year to go to Iceland.
Now, is Iceland the one with all the volcanoes? They have the hot springs, or is that Greenland?
Yeah, I think so. I always confuse Greenland and Iceland. So I mean, James can tell us about that.
Yeah.
He's going to Iceland. Well, it'd be like going to Alaska now. I think if I'm going to go there, I'm going to go there in the summer. Yeah, of course. But they all bought houses with the money donated to Antifa, right? But it doesn't exist. That's what I love about them. It doesn't exist. Well, we all bought like 6 houses apiece on the money that these idiots from Hollywood gave us in donations. It's crazy. It's like a crazy house over there. And you look at Washington, and that's all you got. And they take the side. They always take the side of the people who are anti-American, anti-Christian, everything that this country was founded on. Oh yeah, these people that are bringing in enough fentanyl to kill half the country on a boat. We shouldn't blow them up. No, we should just bring them in, give them a hotel room, and give them free shit. Yeah, so yeah, I
I'll
salute
take
you.
free shit.
Yeah, last time I saw a volcano was in Hawaii. I think I'm opting for Hawaii, James. Yeah, look, rub it in. It's going to be warmer there than it is in Fall River, you hot shit. Thank you.
Exactly.
Thanks a lot. But do you have just a vacation? Do you have relatives there or something like that? I don't know. I mean, it's just kind of hardy people there, I can tell you. But on a national scene, let's see what we got on a local scene today. Uh, any other new breaking news since I looked the last time? Well, I guess nobody cares about that. There's a big argument over the Conjuring house. Uh, oh yeah, the overdoses at Providence College. That was a strange. Like 7 people overdosed, but they got the people. And another person charged with DUI after crashing into a Coventry store. I mean, this is the thing. You go to these states. The problem we have today is there are no consequences for anything. You go, you kill somebody in a car, they let you out. You're driving again. You get arrested 100 times. You still got a license. You kill somebody else. This guy DUI. It's DUIs, and in these states, they have multiple situations. In places like Japan, you get DUI, you lose your license. I don't know if they've changed the law, but it was really, really stringent. I mean, not as stringent as like Indonesia. I think if you get DUI in Indonesia, they kill you. You get the death penalty. But in Japan, I think you lose your license for like 10 years. And then if you get caught driving without a license, with a suspended license, they put you in jail for like 10 years. So there's not a lot of DUIs in these countries where you have serious, serious punishment. It's just like drugs. You notice there's not a lot of drug problems in like Afghanistan where they grow all the poppies. They don't have a lot of problems with that in the countries that produce the drugs and ship them to the United States. It's only the United States that has the drug problems with the druggies because they let them out of jail. They commit crimes to get the drugs. Then they're let out of jail again. Then they stab people on the subway. Uh, but in the other countries, they don't do that. Even Switzerland. I mean, neutral Switzerland fined somebody $100 for something, and then, of course, she wasn't a Swiss citizen. Yeah, drunken raccoons. Yeah, they yanked his license, Steve. You can't drive anymore. Yeah, there are less drugs, but they're still pushing them. I mean, they're going to try because you know the people who are driving those boats, they don't, they're going to make a lot of money, and they don't have a lot of money, so they're going to take a shot anyway. But after a while, as you said, it's getting less and less and they're expendable. I mean, the people who own the cartels are bazillionaires, and they're not going to care. Okay, let me put this up. CJ's back.
I've been back. I just had to mute it. I had to take that phone call.
Okay.
You know what
No.
it's like.
Oh yeah, you're going to end up with You might even end up with another. middle, dark ages, because I don't know. You might have another bubonic plague uh, showing up, because that's where the bubonic plague came from in Europe. So
Rodents, rodents, rodents.
the epidemic. Yeah, can you imagine that there's a ton of rats? Yeah, okay. There's a ton of rats in New York now. Imagine now letting this guy's. Yeah, New York is going to be a.
It's interesting because an influencer on social media uh, recently did a video of how long will it take to find a rat in New York. And on the streets, he couldn't find one right away. But as soon as he went into the subways, 3 seconds in, 3 rats, no problem.
Fatima, they're right. We don't have any more news on Kevin leaving. Just the fact that he resigned and left, and he said for personal reasons.
And remember, he resigned from the Westport Elementary School.
Yeah.
He did not resign as a school committee member in Fall River. They're totally separate.
Right.
They're totally separate. And he's been very hush-hush since he's resigned. And the only information we've received is that he is resigning to pursue other opportunities. That's it.
Which is a standard political excuse.
Right.
Yeah, Chris Perenio withdrew his application for DCM.
He withdrew his application. Again, if you had been reading the Weekend Flush, you did have this information.
That's right. Oh, that's right. I gotta pull that one up again.
Chris Perenio retracted his application, his candidacy for DCM director, and retracted his resignation as Swansea town planner, which Fall River trained him for. Okay? But he still appears on the agenda for Tuesday as a candidate for DCM director. I don't know if Joe Camara didn't get the email from the mayor, or does he get email? I don't know. It seems like a big secret. But he's withdrawn his application. He's withdrawn his name as for candidacy, so it's over and done with. So.
No, you're right, but I have to digress. You mentioned your Weekend Flushing because we got off to the races on stuff. I got to go over your Weekend Flush because just in case anybody forgot, they shouldn't forget. But yesterday was the day that 1941, when they bombed Pearl
anniversary.
Harbor. And there are only 12 survivors left who are at Pearl Harbor during the bombing. So none of them went. They normally have at least one of them go to Pearl Harbor for the ceremony, but none of them could go because they were all very, very old. But CJ took time to put two quotes that are related to this to Pearl Harbor in the beginning of our entry into the war. And it's a quote from Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Not that he's important.
Which was, not as good as Teddy, but I think this is part of the speech that he gave on the radio immediately after Pearl Harbor. Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan. And that was the beginning. And then his closing quote was what happened to the man in charge of that debate, what he said, because he knew. This is what happens when you let politicians run wars. Admiral Isoro Yamamoto, the man who led the attack at Pearl Harbor, in case you didn't know why this quote is germane. Quote, I fear all we have done is awaken a sleeping giant and fill them with a terrible resolve. And he was right. Yeah, you're right. And that the sad part about it is our school children are being taught uh, about DEI rather than learning about the sacrifices that created this country all the way from the Revolutionary War. They don't teach history anymore. There is nothing. There is nothing that is
We
that
teach the history, but it's kind of convoluted. It's kind of
yeah.
diluted.
Well,
Diluted, convoluted, and questionable.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. There is nothing, or very few things, as if you go to Flanders Field where they had the Normandy invasion, or you go to Pearl Harbor where the monument, the Arizona, that's still entombed there, and there are still sailors who died on December 7th, 1941, on that ship. It's so emotional. It's incredible. I mean, you see that, and then then above at the top, there's the Punch Bowl Cemetery where a lot of the people who died in the Pacific Theater and most of the Medal of Honor winners are buried. I mean, and for these kids today to do what they do to the American flag, to say what they say about America, if they had any idea. Oh, James. Oh, we have something in common. I'm a Sagittarius too. I was born in December. No. Yeah, they don't want people to know this country was built on the blood and the sacrifice of brave Americans that have protected this country. They created this country by fighting the most powerful army in the world, the British Army. And yeah, but come on, Fatima. That would make sense.
You know what the interesting thing is? Mike Rogers sits on Ways and Means, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Mike Rogers was asked by Mike Sylvia of the Florida Reporter, why is it costing almost $20 million to put lights on the Braga Bridge? And he said, that's not the case. Because that would have to come before Ways and Means for a supplemental appropriation. And Mike Sylvia said, I've got the contract. And it's not just for lights. It's for infrastructure. It's for electrical work, et cetera, et cetera. And he said, well, I have no idea about that because it never came before my committee for an additional appropriation.
So a $20 million contract.
No, he justified it. He said, but there are bridges all over this country that are lit up. That are lit up to bring pride to their cities. And I fight and defend Fall River. What are you defending Fall River for? Because we're a shithole? Fall River needs defense because we're a shithole?
Yeah, but you won't give the veterans their damn.
That's right, but you won't give the veterans, housing preference.
Well, Jeff, Pearl Harbor was, of course, at that time Hawaii was not a state, but Pearl Harbor is not part of the contiguous United States, so people did not feel the effects of the Pearl Harbor bombing. The military did, obviously, and the country did because it started the war.
That's what brought the World War II.
9/11 was the first time we have been attacked on our own soil.
That's right.
By foreign entity, and it had the same effect. It started our war with Iraq and Afghanistan. That's what got us into those wars over there. And the irony of both of those incidents was, as tragic as they were, it brought America together. 9/11, they the recruiting offices were full of people. People wanted to defend their country. They were waving American flags, driving up and down the streets. They all became Americans again. And the sad part about it? Here we are, 24 years later. I don't know if that would happen if they blew something up in the United States today. That's the sad part.
You're
We have
right.
to be realistic. If they blew something up in the United States, we might see 10,000 Palestinian sympathizers out there celebrating. I'm not sure if you could ever put this country back together again. I'm not sure. And that's what scares me, because we no longer have. The Democrats have succeeded with their plan. Divide America by ethnicities, by color, by anything you can get to make people dislike each other. That's what we do, the Democratic Party. And they have divided this country to a degree that I believe that if they bombed Pearl Harbor again, or they drove a few more planes into some building in the United States, that we would have the kind of response we had on 9/11 and after Pearl Harbor. And that is a scary proposition.
And,
our country is falling apart. A wise man once said, America will never be destroyed by an outside power.
That's right.
It will be destroyed from within.
It's interesting because I got into a quasi argument with my brother-in-law today.
Quasi.
I call him a seditionist. I call him a seditionist because he doesn't want government anymore. He thinks the government has failed the people totally. He wants to destroy the Constitution, get rid of all, the Bill of Rights, get rid of all of that. Get rid of the government.
Yeah.
And start all over. And I explained to him, if you have no government, how are you going to start all over? Even when this country was formed, we had a government. We revolted against that government, but we had laws.
No, you're right.
Without those laws, we will have nothing.
Well, you have chaos.
That's right.
You have anarchy. The thing is, that's what people don't understand.
I'm not a seditionist. I'm an anarchist.
Socialism. This is why the idiots in these younger generation are going towards socialism. They think even though it doesn't work. It's been proven
right. It hasn't worked anywhere.
It's never worked anywhere. But also, a pure democracy doesn't work.
Right.
Because that's why you need what we have, a constitutional republic, not a democracy, a constitutional republic. Even though the Democrats love to talk about we're protecting democracy, but this isn't a democracy. Democracy means chaos. If you look at what a democracy is, it means everybody has an equal say.
That's right.
Which means chaos. You'll never agree on anything.
That's right.
It doesn't say the majority rules. It says everybody is equal. So if you've got 350 million people, you could have 350 different million ideas on how to do something, and nothing ever gets done. Socialism doesn't work. You have to have a governmental structure. Even doesn't have to be a constitutional republic. Britain has survived with a
monarchy.
With a monarchy. Now it's a pseudo monarchy because they're mostly. It's mostly just to maintain the monarchy. But as CJ said, you need a structured government. Socialism isn't structured. It's like who decides who contributes what. Socialism works. There are more oligarchs, as Bernie's favorite word is. Get rid of the oligarchs. There are more oligarchs per capita in the Soviet Union than there are in America. because socialism doesn't work. Everybody does not live equally in the Soviet Union. There are hundreds of filthy rich oligarchs in the Soviet Union, and those people over there, all right, they can barely exist. And Jeffrey, I agree, with Israel. This is what the Democrats do. And then we've got people in Congress who, in my opinion, should not be in Congress today. Oh yeah, Stevie. Yeah, Somalis would be encouraged to do even more. Yeah, I mean they're getting, something has to be done because in Europe they've already had. I have a video of a guy attacking a Muslim attacking somebody with a machete because he didn't like the way they looked at him. And then we have people in the UK attacking people because they were eating bacon. I mean, these people are crazy. That's right. No, you're right. It's a sad commentary. I don't know if they've broken this country so badly it can never be fixed unless we have a civil war again. I don't know. It's tragic because I look at it, it reminded me, yesterday reminded me of obviously again, I always remember it, but I went to Hawaii and saw those monuments but I remember the reaction to that, how America got together in World War II and how everybody was an American and proud and fought. And the same thing after 9/11. We had so many of our people go to Iraq and fight house to house and go to Afghanistan, and the recruiting offices were filled. They even had that NFL player who left the NFL, enlisted in the military, went to Afghanistan, was killed in action. He was a Ranger, I believe. Got killed in action, and they thought at first, I think they gave him a medal, and they investigated it and found out that unfortunately he was killed by friendly fire. But you got a guy that left the NFL and the money he was making in the NFL to serve his country. Many people signed up to be in the military after that. I don't know if that would happen today. No, you can't argue that. China is not doing well. China is only doing well because it totally controls everything. The government never goes out of business, but a lot of businesses over there are suffering. China's in big trouble economically. All the economists in the world are saying that they are in trouble, and that's one of the reasons that Europe's economy has never ever really gotten better. It's because
as a matter of fact, when they converted over to the euro,
they've always had pseudo-socialists involved in their government. Well, that's the problem. Whenever you get a lot of socialists, and Europe has always had socialists in their government. As a matter of fact, the Ukraine actually had Nazis in their cabinet, and we're siding with them. But they actually had Nazis in their cabinet that were called Nazis too. But socialism always drains the economy with all these giveaway programs, because that's what they live on. They drain the people, but they maintain their own wealth. That's one of the problems with socialism.
I can be rich, you got to suck it up.
Huh?
I can be rich, you got to suck it up.
Yeah, that's right. And Europe has always been, America's always been the big daddy of Europe because their economies have never been as strong as they should have been. Look at Japan's economy. Japan's economy is extremely good. They have a very, very
but remember, we rebuilt Japan.
But China
we rebuilt Japan. Okay, we handle their military. We rebuilt the country.
Yep.
They have a Coast Guard. We're their Navy.
Yep. Oh yeah, we handle their military stuff. But one thing about the Japanese, they rebuilt that entire country after a typhoon in 2 weeks.
I know.
Do you
Unlike
realize
America.
that if we had a typhoon in Fall River in Massachusetts with our politicians, it would take 200 years to rebuild?
Yes. Just
In
look at
Japan,
Florida. Look at Florida. They're still
yeah,
trying to bail out of a hurricane from
yeah,
what?
you let American politicians get their hands on anything, that's going to be a
That's right.
total mess. If you look at what happened, like I said, in Japan, within 2 weeks, most of their highways were totally rebuilt. The entire country pitched in, and that country was disseminated. You don't see that kind of stuff here. But then again, Japan has long been a very homogeneous country, although they have let in some foreigners, and now they're going to get rid of them because they're already causing problems.
Causing problems.
They won't hesitate. Italy's already getting rid of them too, and this is the problem. People think that you can get something for nothing, but the reality is, the old saying is very, very true. There's no such thing as a free lunch. Somebody's going to pay. Somebody's going to pay.
Somebody's going to pay the fiddler.
That's right. You want to dance, you got to pay the band, right?
That's right.
You want to get married, you got to pay CJ for the for being a justice and a peace. That's it. That's it. Go in peace, my children. That's fun. But yeah, it's crazy.
It's what we fight all the time. All the time. So.
Yeah, they posted a record raising gross domestic product, but remember, in Japan, you don't get a freaking choice if you're going to work. They either harvest your organs or you work. How much of that GDP is from the Uyghurs? That's one of the problems with socialism. It's extremely oppressive. You're right. The way to go is a democratic republic, a constitutional republic, as we have, and a democratic republic. Because socialism, everywhere it's ever been, you can't show me a socialist country that wasn't repressive. They all were. Cuba, Venezuela, any socialist, China. Look at what did China do during COVID? They welded people into their apartments.
Right.
They actually allowed the elderly to starve to death and extremely sick. They just welded them into the apartment. They just barricaded the apartment and let them die. They've been oppressing the Uyghurs for years. But yeah, of course you're going to get a pretty good GDP when the workforce is basically slave labor, because you either work in China or you die.
That's right.
They're going to kill you. They'll harvest your organs too. They even charge the families in China for the bullets when they kill you. They shoot you, they harvest your organs, and then they charge the family for a bullet. Look what happened in Cuba. Talk to any Cuban about socialism. I mean, the people who lived under it, Marco Rubio's parents and stuff like that, they are so dead set against it, because no matter how successful, and I'm not saying that socialist countries can't be successful, because they can't. Because China does sell a lot of stuff. But that's the irony of the socialism that's preached as it's for everybody. In those countries, they can be economically viable, but that money is not shared with the people as socialism says. It is kept, like I said, that's why Russia has probably the highest percentage ratio of oligarchs to their population, because the upper class, and although I know what Karl Marx, don't tell me about the classless society. I know what Das Kapital says. there is no such thing as a classless society. That's a pipe dream. There will always be a class. And in Russia, uh, everybody know what. There's no doubt everybody does not live the same. And but this country is in trouble. I mean, we see what happens when you poison the minds of a couple of generations now that they don't know their own history. They have no respect for their country.
Like I said, history is diluted and convoluted. We
Yeah,
don't get we don't have history like when I was in school and you were in school.
yeah. Well, I once
Okay?
did a paper in college on the final exam question was a one question you had to write a fundamentally a thesis on. It said, um, what was meant when what I'm thinking of his name now because I'm Pythagoras because he's also famous for the Pythagorean theorem in
Right.
geometry. The question was, what did Pythagoras mean when he said man is the measure of all things? I got an A on that paper because I said that, as you just said, everything in the world that we read about is not 100% accurate because some man wrote it and he measured it based on his own perspective. And that's it. Yeah, no, that's what they do. Like I said, that's what Pythagoras said. Man is the measure of all things. Listen, when the people wrote the Bible, what did they say? The whole world was flooded. The whole world was not flooded. They have proven geologically the whole world was not flooded. But they lived in a world that they thought was flat and didn't even know China existed when they
Right.
lived in the Middle East. So what they wrote was their measure, their perspective, what they saw. Just think of what history would say about World War II if Joseph Goebbels wrote the book and Hitler.
That's right. Because what do they say? The victor always
To the
writes the
victor
history.
goes the spoils and the
Yep.
history.
And the
That's right.
history.
And that's the thing. But one thing we can know historically, I have never met, and I've met people from Russia. I've met people from that were in repressive countries and socialistic countries. I've never seen one of them that said it wasn't extremely repressive. You don't DUI yourself in Russia too many times. You don't DUI yourself anywhere. But
Isn't that the truth?
no, James, that's it. History is one of your greatest teachers. If you don't learn from it, you're doomed to repeat it. And one of the things you do learn is exactly what you said, James, that if you read about history, you'll find out if you read some of the old history books that if you read some of the new history books, they're changing it. Look at the new thing of the 1610 project or whatever the hell they came up with now. There went all our American history out the window because of DEI, and they wanted to say, no, that's not the way history actually occurred. But if you can find somebody that wrote that today, that wrote that project that was alive in the 1600s, I might give it a little bit more credibility. But again, they bend history to fit their own narrative.
All the time.
If
All the
Hitler would
time.
have, if Germany would have won the Second World War, Mengele would have got the Nobel Peace Prize for medicine.
That's right.
Goebbels would have got the Nobel Prize for the Nobel Peace Prize, and Hitler would have got it too. And they would have said that the Aryan race is superior to all races, and that's the way history would have been written because that's the reality of, men write history. We didn't
That's
have
right.
videotapes of what happens, and like we do now, and they write it on their own perspective. And if you look at the people in the old times that thought the world was flat, well, their perspective wasn't really as good as ours is. Yeah, no. No, you just add anything they want to promote their own position, Jeff. That's what they do. It's like, okay, we're gonna make it. We're gonna create this scenario that you said this was free. It's like now the Muslims are running around saying that the Muslims are in the United States before we were. And I know Leif Erikson was here with the Vikings long before Columbus, but they didn't
Yeah.
stay here.
Right.
Okay, they didn't stay here. Okay, but the Muslims were not here. They're saying the Cherokee Indians were Muslims. These people are nuts. I know where they're coming from. If you press them on their position, they'll say, "Well, the Quran says that everybody's born a Muslim, and if they're not Muslim, they have to go back to the religion because that's where they belong." So they say that they were Muslim Indians, and Jesus was a Muslim. He wasn't a Jew. I mean, you can say anything you want. Doesn't make it true.
That's true. That's true. Well, I want to thank you all for watching. It's been a lovely day. Lots of nice comments.
Freezing.
James, enjoy your trip to Iceland. I wish I was going just for the hot springs. And remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. We'll see you on Wednesday. Have a great night. And remember, it's going to be cold tonight and tomorrow.